Hello, gentle viewers. This is Avindian, and welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 21. We're playing today with the Baltimore Orioles, and the season has not gone great. We are 3 games out of first, but you know what? We're still in a good position to maybe get a wild card. So I'm not. It looks bleak, but there's also lots of baseball left, right? There's only 74 games out of 162 game schedule. We're not even halfway through technically. And the pitching staff as a whole has been doing poorly. But as one commenter pointed out, Jack Leiter's BABIP has gone through the roof. And usually that means that the defense is struggling. And indeed, we do have... Our defense is not perfect. And we're going to want to analyze that. Who is falling flat, first of all? And it's mostly the outfielders. Perdomo hasn't been great, but he's only a little bit below average. And again, the same is true for Carandongo. This alone does not account for the problems that we're seeing. Perdomo maybe. Perdomo may be the issue defensively. And we'll have to give that some thought. I will be right back. And I am back. All of this is to say, look, I am not at all convinced that defense alone is the answer. I think, for a certain degree, it's just bad luck. That doesn't mean we couldn't use another starter. We almost certainly could. But it does mean that we have to cut them a little bit more slack than I otherwise would. Like Jack Leiter, Hendricks, and Ethan would have all done significantly better of late. As with putting out the by WAR, which is not a perfect stat, this is still one of the better seasons of Jack Leiter's career. And all it needs is a pretty minor correction and just a little bit of better luck, and I think we'll see a significant improvement in the second half. So where do we go from here? One of the biggest issues is not having, I almost said Miguel Cabrera, but Daniel Cabrera. He's going to be back in a week. And that's going to help kickstart our offense. And the offense has still been great. It just hasn't been transcendent. Which, given how bad the rotation has been, is kind of what we need. I don't know that I'd give up very much in a trade at all. Because, like, a player like Evan White, maybe. But he's also out for injury. A player like Sean Murphy. Again, maybe, but there's something to be said for keeping him around. I categorically refuse to pay a backup catcher more than $5 million a season. I think $3.4 million is not unreasonable given his overall talent level. And that I don't exactly have a ready-made catcher ready to take the spot and do as well as Murphy does. Like, Gonzalez is a perfectly acceptable defensive catcher. I have no complaints about that. I question whether he'll be able to hit enough. And you can look at this and say, but Sean Murphy hasn't been that great offensively this season either. Totally get it. But I think that'll probably change at least a little bit. Maybe we should wait till after the season, though, right? You never know who might be available or who might develop better. So we're going to go ahead and dive in, and we're going to skip ahead about a week to get Daniel Cabrera back. I want my player back, damn it. Okay, Cabrera's back. I will bench Nate Gould so fast his head spins. It's not you, it's us. And it's how amazing Daniel Cabrera is versus how not amazing you are. And I'm not criticizing you, my dude. I'm just saying facts. Also needed to fill out the depth chart. I should have done that earlier. Oops. Oh well. And then you're going to go ahead and go here, and here, and here, and here. There we go. The one guy we might trade is Vanderplurg. Of all the players on this team, I think he is probably the most fungible. Because the arbitration demands are silly. And he is a very one-dimensional player. That dimension is excellent. But he's one-dimensional. And I cannot see spending that much money on a center fielder with that obvious a platoon split. I mean, he basically goes to being the stereotypical pitcher versus playing as when he's facing left-handed hitting. I'd like to get rid of Pierrette, to be honest. I think he's drastically overpaid for the actual value he provides. And he's also just hasn't been very good. And maybe that's something that's worth pursuing. Maybe that is... Because I'm basically overpaying for mediocrity. And the only thing that he's done reliably is pitch a bunch of innings. But he's always given up lots of homers. And so that makes him a deeply problematic pitcher to rely upon. I'd like to try to trade him. I don't know what kind of offer I'll get, but I'd like to try. So I'm going to look for any starting pitcher. And I just want to see what kind of offers are being made to me. There is Elvis Luciano, who is an incredible pitcher for a much shorter contract. And yes, I'm paying more money, but I'm paying more money over a much shorter period. And I almost think it's not even worth exploring other options because he's so... Like, this dude has 3 amazing pitches. Yeah, his movement's not great, but his stuff is fantastic. His control is mind-bending. He has had home run issues. But there's nothing to indicate that his secondary attributes don't make up for that. And most importantly, I have this. And even if he takes the option, that's fine. I can live with that. Because no one else is going to help us do what we want to do this year, which is compete. There's like a Tariq Shubal, but he's frankly Oscar Pierrette with a shorter contract. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's Josiah Gray, who has no stamina, but is otherwise, you know, a pretty acceptable pitcher. There's Josh Alford, who at some date might be the next Oscar Pierrette. I think we take this deal. I really, truly do. It makes us better in the short term, and it gives us more options in the long term. Done. And I instantly throw you in as the new third starter. I think that was a trade that had to happen. It reminds me a lot of the Sterling Hitchcock trade that we had to make. Not Sterling Hitchcock, Emerson Hancock. Sterling Hitchcock pitched for the Yankees in like the 90s. Gosh. But it reminds me a lot of that trade because we had a bad contract and we got a pretty good player in exchange. And I'm fine with this. Even if he ends up leaving at the end of the season, I think we've still improved our chances for this season until, of course, another injury happens. Who do we have that can fill in as a middle infielder? I can't remember. Does Perdomo play second? Not very well. Like, Tharp could play second, but then I wouldn't have a good middle infield utility guy. I guess we can just keep the immortal Clay Fisher. Let's do it. I'm going to have to rejigger the lineup, and I'm going to do that here in a second. But I don't know who our new number 2 should be. I know who it shouldn't be. Let's make it Vasquez. Why not? And Mr. Vanderplug, sure, they can be our number 2 hitters. And then let's generate new depth charts. Poor Clay Fisher. He's probably he's either, at this point, elated to be a... here you go. He's either elated to be a Baltimore Oriole or he's sick of it, and I'm not sure which he is. Santoya's gotten out and has a possible shot at Rookie of the Year, which is more than I expected, to be honest with you. This season has just been everyone getting injured. He likes Perdomo. Man, Danny Moreno fell to number 5. He's clearly terrible, and I should get rid of him. I'm just kidding. What was your deal? Oh, so you didn't want to come back, did you? You probably want to retire. That's fine. I can get an even better scouting director. Yes, I will happily demote Bruce Maldonado to get Mr. De La Cruz back into the pitching. And we're noticing by the ERAs are starting to come down. Not Andy Neal's. Man, Andy, you need to get your walks under control. I don't know what to do about him either. We are back in first, albeit a tie for first. Chris Thomas added a screwball but lost velocity. That's interesting. He's honestly almost a borderline starter if he can make that screwball work. Different people have gotten a bit better. Nobody too exciting. Luis Amaya's getting better as a center fielder. You like to see it. Is he anywhere near the majors? He really isn't. I mean, you're several years away, I think, is what we can take away from this. All right. Hendrick is once again insane this season. And I'm going to politely ignore Sean Murray or Murphy. I don't care what he has to say. International amateurs. All players. I mean, there's nobody here that's that exciting, right? Yeah, I'm not going to spend $5 million on a guy who's not very good. That's just silly. Yeah, I can't imagine spending even $1 on most of those players. So we're going to pass on them. I'm not going to stop simming for a week. The AI can bench him if they need to. It's going to take even more time to get Evan White back. And again, I'm not convinced that we should. Poor Darnell Hernais. Or Daryl. I mean, I could kind of use him now, but my word, has he not turned out. It looks like he had one exceptional season for Atlanta, and then it's just been pretty much garbage since then. That's a shame. That is a shame. Is there a move I can even make that would be reasonable? Like, I like Carter Young. He's a pretty good second baseman, and I don't have a starting second baseman for the rest of the year. But I'm not going to give you Luis Amaya for that. I'm just not going to do it. And if that makes you sad, too bad. But I acknowledge this would actually be a pretty significant improvement. We can discuss it, but I'm not giving you Amaya. That's not even close. Really? What if I just wanted one? Are you shitting me? Jonathan Dufak is a terrible player. He's literally terrible. And you're going to give me a significant upgrade at second base for the rest of this season. I can't not do it. He's even a bit of a leader. That's nice. Yeah, that was a no-brainer for me. And then Chris Tharp, you can go right back to AAA. I'm not even going to think about keeping you up. And then Carter Young, you can go ahead and fill in at second. There we go. He might be an okay number 2 hitter. I'm not going to push him that hard yet. And I'm probably not going to keep him either. I'm fully acknowledging this is a move for one season, and because I gave up nothing for it, I have no regrets. Do we want to make any deals here at the deadline? I mean, the bullpen as a whole is really struggling this season. And a big market closer is, at least theoretically, an interesting way to fix that problem. I'm just not convinced that this is anything other than a one-year blip. Like, think about it. Every single pitcher on the roster is worse this year. Every single hitter on the roster is better this year. To me, this screams a weird one-year blip. And I'm not going to make a reckless decision or sacrifice anything of significant value based on weirdness. I'm going to stick to my guns because here's the thing. We're a game out of first. We're a game out of a wild card spot. And even if we don't make the playoffs, so what? I don't want to make any rash judgments or sacrifice anything meaningful to get better this year. That's just not how I run my teams. Okay. Okay. Juan Lara is really doing well this season. I mean, granted, he's not that great real life, but I'm glad that he's doing well. Let's go ahead and go to the... Oh, did I sign all my draftees? I did. Okay. Let's go to roster expansion. Evan White, how have you done, Josh Roberts? You've done fine. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you to rehab in the minors, and I'll probably call you up when rosters expand. Maybe. Unless people get hurt. I don't know. And it's not that Evan White isn't a good player. It's just I don't have a need for him. I could just release him. There's no other way to get rid of... What the fuck? Also, Carter Young, what the shit? Did I just see that the last game was 32? Did we literally score 32 runs? No, we scored 12 runs. Okay. I swear I saw the 3 on top of the 12 and I saw 32. You're displeasing me, Mr. Young. Where is Mr. Tharp? There he is. And I guess I just slide him into the lineup. He's not the kind of guy that gets me up and excites me, but he's the kind of guy I have to deal with. Now that 16 definitely happened. I saw that. Yeah, there's something about this season, guys. I don't know what the heck is going on, but everyone is getting hurt. So, Mr. Vasquez, you're now the everyday starting center fielder. And I need to call up a reasonably good defender. I'm going to call up Bobby Dwyer. He's a perfect fourth outfielder type. Like, I know he's not fantastic, and I think I would be silly if I said that he was. Please don't be stupid, AI. I am not benching Kieran Dongo, who is a legitimately excellent hitter, for Bobby Dwyer, who maybe hits for better contact. Like, I'm not saying that Kieran Dongo is flawless. This is not the kind of performance necessarily that the bards will sing about, but He's a big, beefy guy in a lineup that's neither all that big nor all that beefy. And, yeah. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. He did hit extremely well in his limited playing time. But Josh Roberts is also hitting extremely well. And he's way cheaper. You know what I can do? I can designate him for assignment. And that'll give me 10 days to assign him somewhere else. Which by the time he's done being DFA'd, I can just call him back up and... Wow, lots of people claimed him. Okay. Well, you can enjoy him. Because I just don't have a need for him anymore. And friends, we now have a very small lead in the AL East. We can have Robert Moore and Carter Young back. So I'm going to go ahead and send down Tharp. For sure. And I definitely want Carter Young playing over Moore. The question is, what do I do with Moore? And I think I'm going to have him rehab his injury in the minors, and then I'll put him on the 40-man, or the expanded rosters when that happens. I just think Carter Young is better right now. And I don't think there's too much dispute that Carter Young is just the better player right now. Is he the better player forever? He is not. But for now, he's the better player. And I'm willing to accept that. And then once rosters expand, I think we'll call it both Robert Moore and... Oh, no, and I don't even care about Evan White because he's Cleveland's problem now. Cody Bellinger, 600 homers. My word. I'm going to have you rehab as well. And I think he will be the other person I call up. You are not good enough to be part of the starting lineup. Sean, my dude. Adley Rutschman has 31 homers, 5.7 WAR, and is hitting 282, 358, 561. If you think you deserve to start over that, you need to check yourself into a mental asylum. Because you're insane. And you need to stop whining. That is the other thing that must happen. Okay? Thanks. And as much as I like Vanderplurk, I wonder if I'm not better served trading him in the offseason. I'll think about it. Why are we... Okay, that was weird. All right, Robert Moore, your time in the minors is up. And you're injured again. What the shit? Vanderplurg, I'm going to go ahead and activate you again. Vasquez is killing it this season. I am more than content to let you just kind of back up at center and maybe be like a really important pinch hitter. Like, I'm going to let you play over Dwyer. There's maybe not against lefties, but heck, Dwyer is a right-handed center fielder who's pretty doggone good. I can easily have him platoon in favor of Vasquez. And that's even if I think Vasquez needs to platoon. And I'm not convinced he does necessarily. Carter Young does want to come back. And I do not think that's a bad idea, except for the fact I don't think we can afford it. Like, how much money do I have for extensions? Let's find out. No money. I just don't think this is a contract I can take unless Luciano opts out. And he may well opt out. And that's fine if he does. I'm going to give Ricky Perez a minor league extension if he wants it. And if he doesn't, that's fine. Yeah, Vanderplurg, you have lost your bloody mind. There is nothing about you that is sane. Like, even if you weren't frequently injured, I would never pay you anywhere near $10 million a year. In no universe are you worth it. You just aren't. Ooh. With someone retiring, Mr. Garcia, you can be the manager for the Shorebirds. And let's also promote Sal Fasano to the short season A League. There we go. I am not guaranteed to win the division, but if I win tomorrow, I will. Wait, can I do that? Can I charge him for his locker room towels? I sure hope so. Oh, this is interesting. So we end up with a one-game playoff against Tampa. If we beat Tampa, we make the playoffs. If we lose to Tampa, we still possibly make the playoffs. But who is Texas playing? Or is Texas playing? I see. It looks like they've decided that whoever wins this game, there'll probably be a tiebreaker. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and... Who's expected to pitch for me? Hey, I can't think of a better man to pitch in a close situation. And we did it. We claimed another AL East title. Jack Leiter, you sausage, you did it again. Look at that. 11 strikeouts. Only 1 run allowed. Chris Thomas pitches 3 glorious innings. You love to see it. Now, this has admittedly been a weak season. I don't think anyone can dispute that for us anyway. I mean, we only won 87 games, and the last time we won less than 90 was in 2023. But I honestly think that we've got a shot in these playoffs. I don't think it's a great shot, but I think we have one. And so now there's actually another one game. There's the wild card playoff now to see if Texas or the Angels make it into the thing. I need the playoff roster, please. I just need to make sure who is on it. This is fine. And then first round, we're going to do 3-man rotation. And it's going to be Luciano, Leiter, and Hendricks. And you guys are both just going to be emergency starters. And honestly, Andy Neal, I am not letting you start a game in the playoffs. I may not even let you pitch for me again. I'm not convinced yet. But Ethan Wood is going to be the 4th starter in the playoffs. And I say that knowing full well that Ethan Wood's been terrible, but he's been less terrible than Andy Neal. So I fully anticipate... Oh, poop. No. Stop. There we go. I accidentally picked until playoffs end instead of until next round, which is what I wanted. Alright, how tired is Jack Leiter? He did pitch 4 days ago. I don't feel the need to rush him back. And we get Raffle stomped. We tie it up thanks to 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th. Nice. And hey, Luciano pitched fine. It's not Luciano's fault. I'm going to put you on the roster, but you're probably not going to be on the playoff roster yet. That was an ugly win, but winning ugly is okay. I mean, Jack Leiter was kind of pedestrian, but it's fine. And we're in a decisive Game 5. Wait, why did Luciano get lit up? Andy Neal pitched. Why the crap did Luciano not start? And didn't Brandon Hendricks... Oh, no, Brandon Hendricks is fully recovered. I'm starting Jack Leiter on short rest. Did he actually pitch, or did you ignore me? You actually ignored me. But Hendricks pitched an okay game. And we hit in the clutch when it counted. So I will take it. That was an ugly, ugly win, but it is a win. Jack Leiter is always going to start if he's available. There's just not an option there. We are facing the Texas Rangers, who had a very good rotation this year. And they owned us this year. Man. I hope Jack Leiter's not actually getting worse. Like, he still pitched amazingly. Actually, I agree with this assessment that Luciano should be the number 2 starter. Oh, and I need to actually make this a 4-man rotation, and we're going to throw in Ethan Wood. Texas won that game. Doug Smart won the MVP for the Carolina League. I can see why. He's quite a respectable player. He is. We're losing the low-scoring games, which is not a great look for us. Oh, no, you didn't. You did not defeat Jack Leiter. Okay, it wasn't Jack's fault. Wasn't Jack's fault. And we got bumped. We got defeated in the playoffs. And that's fine. Hey, Dave Trujillo. It did very well. I approve of that. You know what? I'm not salty about that. I'm not that upset that we got defeated. This was a down season for us. There's no disputing that. The real question is, as we sim to the end of the playoffs, and the Rangers won the World Series, so hats off to them. So, 2 people voided their options, including Luciano and Joe Jimenez. My hitting coach also retired, as did my bench coach. Wow, how strange. I'm going to need to work on that. Let's actually do that now. First of all, Lee Tinsley. How would you do with the current Orioles? Like, every pitcher would hate your guts. Okay. Andrew Romine, how would you do with the current Orioles? You would be fine. Let's do it. Let's promote you to Major League Hitting Coach. And I'll have to find a new bench coach unless Kevin Cash can get along with the Orioles. He can't. All right. So I want a coach with a great reputation. Alan Mills. Every player on the roster would hate you. That's not good. Everyone would hate you. Very few people would hate you, and no one that hates you is important. What the? Oh, you would apply to be the bench coach. Leo Rodriguez, you can go ahead and be the hitting coach for AAA. He is personable as Mr. Vasquez. Mahat is also, though. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick you over Vasquez. And I do need a new scouting director, and I need one quite badly. I mean, Chris Nathan looks amazing, right? Do it. I will never not open up the checkbook for a good scouting director. But let's review the season. Let us review the season. No. Batting stats. Adley Rutschman and Daniel Cabrera were phenomenal. Adley Rutschman had a nice little bounce back year after his 2029 was disappointing a bit. Couldn't be happier. Daniel Cabrera is continuing to show that he is still a tremendous hitter even as he ages. And we're not being hurt at all by him being a designated hitter, which I was actually kind of worried about. He's such a good hitter. He even set a career high in homers this year. He's such a good hitter that I'm happy with him being in the field. Gerardo Perdomo had arguably the best season of his career since 2026 for sure. He got on base, and he played okay third base, and that's what I wanted from him. Daniel Cabrera continues to put in quality seasons. You know, I'm not convinced he's worth the price tag, but he is a tremendous fielder. And I'm okay with that. Santoya had a great rookie season. I'm excited to see him perform so well, and I hope to see him perform even better in the future. Jose Vasquez proved that he can handle center field quite expertly, I think. And Carter Young was a nice second baseman. Austin Hendrick did drop off toward the end there, basically turning in a copy of his 2029 season. And that's fine. I don't think I'll keep him for too much longer if it doesn't get better, but we'll see. Kieran Dongo, I need to see a bit more from you. But I still think you're a pretty reasonably good player. All in all, a good offensive season for the Baltimore Orioles. But then we're going to look at pitching. Jack Leiter still led the league in WAR and many, many other stats. He has Randy Johnson in his crosshairs to break his record in a down year. And you can't deny it's a down year relative to his peak. If this is Jack Leiter at his worst, I will sign him for 100 years. Elvis Luciano was a very good starter, and so is Brandon Hendricks. Andy Neal, I almost think that we have our hopes set on an eventuality that'll never come, but maybe we'll get lucky. And then some of the bullpen was just awful. Not to mention Ethan Wood was awful. And so we're going to need to think about what to do with Elvis Luciano. I cannot offer them compensation because they weren't on the roster long enough. I'm going to have a think about this, and we're going to revisit it next episode. I didn't actually want to offer you a proper contract. I'm not convinced you're that good. But this is a team very much in transition. Oh dear, Clay Fisher's finally eligible for a major league contract. Do I not tender him just to be a jerk? Maybe. We'll see. I'll think about it for next episode. But Joe Sprake was terrible. And yes, his BABIP was higher than usual. And again, let me just reemphasize, I am not going to overstate and rely too heavily, but he got lit up in homers. He was giving them up by the barrel full. And that's not going to cut it from a potential closer. Mike Reese led the league in games started and was a pretty good pitcher, all things considered. I am not keeping Vanderplug. I'm not doing it. And you can't make me game. I'm going to try to trade him as soon as I can. Maybe to upgrade the bullpen, maybe to upgrade the rotation. I'm going to try to get what I can. But he is not staying. And I can't afford to keep Luciano even if I wanted to. That's fine. I had no illusions that I'd be able to. And Carter Young wants a massive raise. I'm not saying he wasn't great down the stretch, but I am saying he's not worth that much money to me. He just isn't. So, we've got some interesting decisions coming in the offseason for sure. And I am intrigued to see what people think and what you recommend in the comments. Vanderplug is gone. He just is. Vasquez was better this season, and I just like him better. He doesn't have a hole in his swing, and he can actually hit for power, which Vanderplug can't. So yeah, definitely trading him. And then we'll figure out what to do about Mike Reese and Joe Sprake. The entire bullpen, the entire pitching staff this season was, to be quite blunt, pretty terrible. And this is the same guy who's been my pitching coach since 2023. I'm not going to fire my pitching coach. It's not his fault. I think this is just one of those years where offense spikes up and pitching spikes down, and that we're going to see improvement next season. Let's get a manager. Rico Bronya, I would like you to be my manager on one of my rookie league teams. That's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. It really is good to do more OTP. It really makes me feel good to just play this game, even if we do poorly like we did this season. And I'm intrigued to see what happens next time. So thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching. And I bid you good day.